What's going on, man? It's the Left Fresh podcast. It's your boy Left Fresh, man. Well, thank you all for jumping on with your boy. Let me remind you all to subscribe, like, comment. Good to see some interaction. Good to see everyone in here already. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I just finished watching the North Carolina and Duke game. That was a good one. Entertaining finish. You know, usually if I'm not doing any music, I'm jumping in on the sports. But got an interesting hip hop segment tonight. Couple of segments tonight. Great episode lined up for you all. Good content. Like I said, thank you all for jumping on with me. Uh, Good releases that was on Friday. Most notably, J. Cole. J. Cole dropped a new release called The Fall Off, and got a good buzz on the internet, good buzz across the hip hop community and everything like that. So, there's a nice cover art to go with it. I got mine off of Apple Music personally, just to show you all. Um, Good solid release. Much anticipated. A lot of a lot of buzz after the mixtape he did with DJ Clue. Definitely a lot of buzz after the whole controversy with him and Kendrick and Drake and everything. Him deciding not to engage in a lyrical battle with any of the two. So he went back to just making music and making an album. I mean, he did actually talk about it, but mostly just went back to staying in his lane, staying J. Cole. I think he said some things that people might still be in opposition to, but other than that, though, he did get into some good storytelling and sidebar content outside of any controversy and everything like that. So J. Cole back at it. Another studio album to the a notch on the belt. It's pretty long track. Um, Pretty long, good bit of tracks on there. It was a disc 29 and a disc 39, a combined total of two tracks. I gotta look up was the meaning of the 29 and 39. I think it was kind of related to, I don't know, I'm not sure if it was a North Carolina thing or not, but I remember one of his songs where he kind of addresses not jumping into the beef. Was named 2-6, which is kind of a code that was kind of brought up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where he's from. So um yeah, nice album cover artwork, kind of symbolic, kind of like the rest of his other albums that he's had. Um, Got an extensive discography already, so this point right now is pretty impressive. This album right here, I was impressed. Like I said, it's a lot, and here's disc 29. There was 12 tracks there. Let you know in advance, disc 39, which is basically disc two, has 12 tracks as well, so a combined total of 24 tracks. Not saying it's like out of the ordinary, but usually songs with this many tracks aren't this long in today's hip hop world. You know what I mean? As far as dropping albums, um, the albums he dropped, I mean, the songs were like pretty long in duration as well. So it was like a healthy length of an album. It was an hour and 40 minutes. So it was like, yeah, he had a lot to say. Um, 29 intro was pretty deep, kind of got you in there, kind of got you engaged already, just to start it off. And then it goes into 2-6 where he's, discussing the entire beef that he had, and why he didn't engage in any beef. So his beef with the whole idea of beefing, you know what I mean? So it was like, you kind of understood I kind of understood the logic where he was coming from. He didn't want to just engage in anything that could lead to deeper than anything than just rhyming, you know what I mean? Or who's just a better rapper. Eventually it starts getting into personal attacks and it goes down a whole nother realm. And many people will disagree, some people will agree, but I mean that's his stance on it. I mean, I guess some people just didn't feel motivated to go back and forth. So um also safety. Safety track three, that was one of my favorite songs as well. You know what I mean? He was good storytelling on that one. He talked to some close friends of his through letters and just catching up with them. So I mean, it was impressive. That was probably one of my favorite tracks. Run a Train, I kind of I was like, yeah, it had a little. I didn't really get into the production and everything like that. I mean, Cole's always going to pretty much bring it lyrically, but I mean, as far as like a track that I actually would probably run back over and over again, I probably wouldn't run that one back particularly. Poor Thing, yeah, I would listen to that again. That was a pretty tough track. I'm not gonna lie, I like Poor Thing. Um, What's good, man? You ain't late, man. You right on time, man. 5 minutes is fashionably late, bro. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for jumping on, bro. Yeah, it did. Yeah, Run Trade had Future on there and everything, and it was like, oh, okay. It's kinda like this kinda like I heard Game give a, critique on the album as well, kinda had the same sentiment about him having too many songs or songs that he coulda did without on here. I mean, I could see about 13 songs in here, and this would be a borderline a classic. Um, it was kind of a lot, and it kind of some of the songs actually hurt it more than helped it. You know what I mean? It's like on one end, impossible to not have. It's impossible to not have. You know what I mean? Too many. Yeah, we saw us get critique when they watch it. Yeah, I mean, I read it and it was pretty accurate to what I agree with. You know what I mean? I kind of agree to that sentiment to an extent. Yeah, he should have stripped the fat. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I was feeling about it. It was like um, there was certain songs like normally he could have just, and usually with Cole too, he always has a bunch of bonus tracks, unreleased tracks, or throwaways and stuff like that. So somebody who's known to throw away tracks, I'm surprised that he kept some of the songs that he kept. Um, like I said, and it kind of threw the cohesion off too. I mean, especially lower down into the tracks, like after the let out and the bombs in the Ville hit the gas, and loyalty at the top, lonely at the top was pretty good. Was pretty good bonus track, but yeah, who TF is you was that was a pretty good one though. I like Bunce Road Blues. I actually like this 29 a little bit better. A lot of people was coming in saying they like this 39 better. I was like, I kind of disagree on that, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the let out for you, drum and bass was pretty good. I mean, yeah, you had pretty good tracks. Like, I mean, and then like I said, safety was a standout to me. Poor thing was a standout to me as well. Yeah, I definitely was liking this 29 probably the best. I mean, I was running that back. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Like it was like this too was definitely kind of had like a fatigue, like a run, yeah, like a run out of gas. It was like an hour and 41 minutes is a tall ask. I mean, I admired the attempt to go that far, but it was like, yeah, I was definitely a couple of songs. I'm not sure they would be fillers, but it just didn't really fit the album. And as we get to this 39, um, yeah, the 39 intro, I was surprised how long that was. The fall off is inevitable. That was kind of like one of the the top tracks, the push for the album, and that was like what I heard off the teaser, off the sampler, and everything like that. And I believe like that was probably the best one. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. This too. Yeah, it kind of had a yeah, yeah. I felt like it just had a little too much on there. That just he was kind of reaching after that. You know what I mean? Like the fall off in it is inevitable was cool. The Villas, yeah, fall off. The inevitable. Yeah, fall off the inevitable is definitely a good one. The Villas I didn't think he could have reinvented it with the Havoc beat, yeah. Yeah, it was like somebody, like I said, this one kind of was I don't know if I should have expected better from the Villas, but I mean that Havoc sample kind of didn't translate too well to me. You know what I mean? That's just not the nitpick, but that's kind of what it is. Yeah. Yeah, if you'd have moved Inevitable was good to this one, yeah. That would have been, yeah, we'd have been straight on that one. Yup, that could have been a class. This one could have been a classic. The Villas was, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I wasn't really respectfully, I wasn't really feeling how he used the Havoc sample, the one with the realest with Cool G rap and everything like that for the OG hip hop heads. That was a sample for Mob Deep's the illest. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I thought that, you can't really you can flip it so much and it's the same beat and it's like, you know what I mean? That what he added to it didn't really hit. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I wasn't really big on that on the production on the Billis. That's kind of one of my key takeaways on that one. Old Dog was pretty good. See this is like I said with this 39, it started off good and then it kind of just like you said, the fatigue or it just started to drag. You know what I mean? Like yeah, yeah, the Villas is already a loop. Yeah, you're already looping it, so it's like what you add to it is kind of just, yeah, kind of hurts it a little bit more than helps it. Exactly, and then Old Dog, like I said, Old Dog wasn't. horrible, but it was kinda yeah, it didn't it was some of the features, some of the additions that it wasn't necessary, and then the samples and some of the kinda hurt it more than helped the album. One of my key takeaways is like, I didn't really get with the whole samples, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, the PD Pablo, nah. Yeah, I mean, I love PD, I like PD and everything, that's personal, but I just some things didn't really feel necessary, and he kind of just added it on there. And that's and it kind of like I said, it'd be different if it didn't do anything to help or hurt it, but it kind of more than hurt it than anything. And that's kind of like one of my takeaways. Only you, uh, that kind of had a little drag to it as well. That kind of Cole can write, but I kind of felt like the writing on that one was kind of like kinda forced it a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, it was a smooth little, lady song and everything like that, but I wasn't really big on the whole I just felt like, it's kinda like you said, Bing, it was kinda like with the fatigue a little bit, you know what I mean? It was like, it kind of started off a little smooth, but it kinda just ran out of, kinda ran out of juice kinda towards the last couple songs. I Love Her Again had a, pretty good theme though, kinda had that common theme, you know what I mean? But that's kinda another takeaway. It was like Cole's Cole's usually more original than that, and that's why I kinda felt like the fatigue came in because it's like, well, if you're gonna do a kind of a if you're gonna remake, sort of add a little touch to a remake type of song, you know what I mean? Like, it was just yeah, you gotta really add something to it that, really hasn't been touched. Like you said, yeah, I don't have a problem with Cole's lyricism, you know what I mean? But the problem was, like you said, the hook was meh, or the beat was kind of pretty meh. It's like, complete song is kind of what the goal is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It was, it just felt like it kind of felt repetitive at that point. It was kind of like yeah, that one felt like a remake. Yeah, I didn't really get into the authenticity. It felt like he was just kind of jacking beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, he was just jacking songs. It was like kind of like these are songs you could have left on a mixtape. You're right, man. Yeah, don't skip the horrible ass man above. Yeah, why you do that to Barbara Sapp? Yeah, man. I mean, Quick Stop had a little revival a little bit at the end, but then it kind of, kind of the issue with the hook, kind of the kind of the issue with just kind of dragging. But what if we knew where this was going as well? What if Big and Pop apologized? That kind of, that's honestly that kind of point right there is why I got impatient a little bit. That's why I kind of lost my patience. What if kind of made me lose my patience. Yeah, I lost my patience on What If, Big. I mean, honestly, I felt like we knew, like, it was kind of like I Love Her Again. You knew where this was going, and you knew what if it's not really going to hit the same because it's like, yeah, I did not like the concept. Number one reason why I did not like the concept, Jada Kiss already did it. Yeah, I mean, like on the Kiss of Death, I thought he wrote him a love letter. Ouch. Yeah, I mean, it was already a concept that's already been touched before. You know what I mean? And it's like we knew once he got to What If and then got to the apology part, I was like, oh man, you start drawing, and it's like kind of like mentioning what you went through as far as the controversy again. And I thought we left that behind on track two, and then it just kind of revisited itself again on What If. So it was like, yeah, it was kind of, at that point, like I said, it kind of felt like he was just kind of running out of gas. Kendrick been talking about conspiracy section 80. Hey, I seen something online that kind of made a reference to like kind of whatever Kendrick does, Cole does right kind of behind him, kind of in the same sense. I was like, ooh. Um, I mean, it's kind of coincidental because they kind of do conceptual, they kind of both dope with concepts and everything like that. But I mean, that is pretty coincidental nevertheless. But yeah, I mean, Jadakiss did "What If," literally the song "What If" with Nas on the Kiss of Death album in 2009. So Me, I felt like Cole pretty much, did a not even a remake. I mean, he did like a mixtape verse to it. You know what I mean? I mean, the hook was kind of not even original like that. It didn't feel authentic at that point. You know what I mean? And it's like that's kind of the knock with this album is like the skills are there, but you kind of question the authenticity of it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I remember he was conflicted. Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. It was like as I listened to it over and over, I listened to it a couple times, just to try to make sure I wasn't bugging. And it's like I look at the reviews online. Like I said, Game had a pretty. I mean, I can't really knock Game's review. I mean, yeah, Drake did the pocket AI voice. Yeah, that's probably the worst. That's probably the worst part of it. Is like each member of the big three. You know what I'm saying? The big three all did the yeah tribute to Pac. They just gotta stop. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love Pac, man, personal and anything like that, but it's like it feels like a cheap tug at the listener's heart, to mention Pac over and over again. You know what I mean? Like it felt like I feel like what you dig for Pac, you run out of gas. Like seriously, like it's time to whatever project you're working on, just kind of just you gotta stop. All right. I mean, it is kind of the most over talked about. And I mean, it's cool to show homage to Pac and tribute and everything like that. No disrespect, but it's like it's also become a redundant theme with, especially if you're in controversy or you got rap beef with people, everything like that. The first thing you want to bring up is Pac. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of repetitive. So, but yeah, I've seen reviews as high as this album is the best album since Born Sinner. Oh yeah, before I get to the review views of the people of the peers, yeah, that's true. Using pop for clicks is whack. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's starting to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I understand if there's an authentic love for Pac, that's fine and understandable. I think we kind of all do, but at the same time, you know, when you're in the middle of a kind of publicized rap beef, or you're kind of trying to push the album a little bit, you kind of want a headline for clicks in the blog sites, and you start putting these type of want to put a quotable in there. It's kind of like throwing a pot, playing the pot card is like kind of getting repetitive at this point. But I've seen people who say this album is about as good as the best album is Born Sinner. And then I've seen reviews as low as this album was born and put me to sleep. Now, I'm gonna play in the middle and say that a lot of people who say this album is born is gonna put them to sleep are probably the same people that say this every Cole album. Some people are just not Cole fans. That's kind of like one of the critical elements of being a Cole skeptic is that his albums put you to sleep. I'm not gonna go that extreme. I'm also not gonna go that extreme of saying this is a classic album or anything of that nature. I think this was had enough decent cuts to say it's a good album. I think it has enough good cuts to call it a pretty good album. You know, basically, like I said, 6, 7, yeah, 6, 7, yeah, 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 exactly. I mean, like that's kind of like I give it a lot of a strong, clean 7. You know what I mean? I give it a clean 7. I mean, I can revisit quite a few tracks off this album. I know there's a couple songs off this album I'm not going to revisit. So I mean, it's an honest review. Um, being what I get this album and what I rank in his discography, yeah, that's what when people compared it, like said that's the best one since Born Sinner, I'm like, is it? And I was like, I had to go back real quick and listen to some previous J. Cole albums. I had to go do some digging before I recorded. And it was like, I don't know if I can put it to Forest Hills Drive. I can't even put it to Born Center, but I don't know if I could completely put it to Forest Hills Drive. Um, Probably up there with KOD. Looking at for Your Eyes Only and Cold World and everything like that. I might put it a little better than those other ones, but I don't think I can put it at Born Center. I can't put it at yeah. It's in the middle of the pack. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like it's kind of like You can put it in the middle with KOD and For Your Eyes Only and everything because Cole doesn't have a bad album. You know, like, I don't think he's ever had a bad album. He's had all good albums. It's just the level of good, it's kind of like, yeah. Oh yeah, Friday Night Lights. Yeah, yeah. Friday Night Lights is definitely J. Cole's like coming out party and everything. That was his turning corner right there. Yeah, I like that's what I'm saying. Forest Hills. I don't know if I could put the Forest. I could put the Fall Off with Forest Hills. I think Forest Hills is probably the next one up to Born to Born Center. Yeah, it's not it's not even better than the off season. Oh man, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, the off season was tough. It really was tough. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, like I said, it definitely kind of falls in the middle. The fall off definitely falls in the middle of the pack. Yeah, I can definitely I can agree to that. Definitely can agree to that. But yeah, I would probably give it a if it was a mic system, I'd probably give it about 4 mics. Put it right there. Nice right at 4 mics. Nowhere near half. A little better than mid. So I'll put it at the good part, the good mark. But yeah, man, J. Cole gave us another release, gave us good listen, gave good couple songs to contribute to his catalog. Another, like I said, solid album to his lengthy discography as it is. And that's pretty much, yeah, you got 3.5. I get you. Yeah, a little, like I said, it's a little better than the middle. You know what I mean? Like it's three's right there in the middle. So yeah, it's a little better than the middle. So I agree to that. I mean, it's definitely a little better than mid. But yeah, oh yeah, should have made that double disc. Hey man, I should have made it. Yes, yeah, yeah. That double disc always gets a lot of artists. You know what I mean? You play with the double disc, man. It's that oversaturation and that running out of gas is like those filler songs. Oh yeah, yeah. Those those will definitely kill you. Everybody just jumping on. Thank you all. Mind you to subscribe, like, comment, um, share, tell a friend. Wednesdays is the sports nights at 8:30. Hip hop and music done on Saturdays at 9 p.m. Yeah, what I ranking amongst double disc. Oof. Yeah, Bing. Ah, it's definitely below life after death, and it's definitely below I have to put it up there like right behind Blueprint too. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's one of the strongest double disc albums. Like lower than Life After Death, yeah. Yeah, I think Life After Death ran out of gas a little bit later on. I think production helped a lot with Life After Death. That was a big deal too. You know, Puff kept some producers. Yeah, so I mean, some of the production kind of ran out of gas on the fall off. You know what I mean? Like the lyricism was there, but you know, even then the stories got kind of repetitive and the beats kind of just, you know, got unoriginal. So it was like, yeah, it definitely wasn't one of the best, double disc albums I've ever heard. I mean, it's probably right there with in the middle, definitely as far as the middle of the package can go. Oh, the last Dawn. I forgot that was a double album. Yeah, I give it that. It can get Master P. It can pass. It can pass Master P. I think Evolution took its course on that one. Yeah, it can pass P. But yeah, I forgot that was a double album. I mean, like I don't think I even made it past the first disc. I might have to recheck Master P because Master P. I might have to recheck Master P because if he had a sneaky good double disc album, because I remember the first half, it could have been good after the first I heard. Oh man, hey man, and P kept it going so long, man. He came with that double album way too further along in his career, man. My man P. Oh man, but yeah, we gonna move on, man. J Cole, solid album. Appreciate your contribution. Um, Moving on to another interesting topic that has kind of revisited itself since I want to say about 2021, maybe 2022. Not quite sure when they first started jabbing at each other. But anybody who knows, T.I. and 50 Cent is probably one of the most hilarious social media back and forths over the past couple of years because if you don't know, it all originated with T.I. initially challenging 50 Cent to a versus, and 50 Cent declined, responded with pettiness, brought up Ti's, called snitching allegations and all his legal issues and everything like that, whatever. But basically, that was his way of saying, "No, I'm not getting in the ring with you, or I'm not putting out music with you. I'm not, I'm not doing this with you." And 50's kind of objected to doing verses with anyone. But why is this being talked about now in 2026? Well, Ti was on Nightcap Live with Uncle Shannon and Ocho Cinco, and he initially responded with, "Well, 50 didn't want no smoke." So, everybody gasped like, "Oh," it's like, I remember hearing this from years ago. So he revisited it, brought it back up. Anybody know Ti got a new album coming out? It's his final album. So he was probably discussing it on Nightcap, giving us some promo. Yeah, but the concept of a versus came up, and Ti was saying that 50 didn't want no smoke. He called him out first, and 50 didn't want it, and he was saying after that well, Lil Wayne would make a better match, would make a good matchup if it was, but Lil Wayne doesn't want to do it. So 50 Cent, listening for whoever says his name, responds immediately from his Instagram page with Ti's Crime Stoppers clip, that same response that he had, you know, years ago when Ti first initially called him out, challenged him to a versus. Um, 50, this is his response. So then he responded with another clip of Ti testifying in court. Um, Basically saying, no, I'm not doing this versus thing with you again. So 50 is adamant about not getting in the ring with Ti. Ti is basically saying you don't want no smoke. And of course, that leaves us as hip hop fans or people who just, hear the headlines and respond to it, gotta say. And basically, people are kind of having different opinions. Hey, 50 didn't want that smoke. Um, and there's people who are saying, well, people just laugh at 50 laughing off Ti, and then some people are just actually going back and forth about who will win. And there's actually a divided opinion about who will win between Ti and 50 if there was a hypothetical versus. Well, if you go back about 4 years ago, Ti called him out. 50 didn't want to do it. Busta Rhymes called out Ti in response, and Ti was like, "No, you should be battling probably a rapper your era." Ti I think made a reference. I want to say to Chuck D or someone like that. Not saying that's Busta Rhymes era. I don't think that's Busta Rhymes era myself, but Busta Rhymes wanted to smoke. Ti was like, "No, I want 50." 50's like, "No, I don't want to battle." You know, Ultimately, what I look at this as, this should probably be the almost the pull the plug, the end of verses. Like, I don't want to see matchups that don't make sense. I don't want to see matchups that are forced. I don't want to see consolation matchups. I don't want to see anything other than matchups that artists actually their discography really matches up well. And in this case, the ones that match up the best aren't doing it. Now, when I say artists that match up well, honestly, respectfully, I don't mean 50 Cent. 50 Cent is probably the last artist I want to see in the verses. There's just not enough volume of material. We know he got a classic album, but the volume of 50 Cent's material, I don't want to see 20 songs of it. I think it's going to run out of gas. I mean, he's got some songs that still hit in 2026. He could probably come out strong um, after a while, even though it felt consistent. It was so consistent when he did it. It kind of oversaturated it at the time, and I remember a lot of the songs starting to sound, almost repetitive. It was almost the same thing. Some songs I don't feel are verses worthy. Like, I mean, honestly, it's like, hey, what's going on Shackle? Yeah, I think era matchups kind of fit better as well. Um, like I think Ti and Lil Wayne fit better. They both came out in the 2000s. They both have about 5 albums worth of music. You know, Ti came out in the early 2000s. Lil Wayne was there, but he really broke loose in the mid 2000s, towards the end of the mid of the 2000s. Um, Ti's got like 5 albums worth of material. Lil Wayne's got about 5 albums worth of material. Respectfully, 50 Cent has literally 2 albums that everybody knows the memory at most, just two. You know, and like I said, 50's not really I don't think versatility is really 50's strong point. I don't think, he's gonna give you that many songs that can really last with truly great artists. Like I think Ti's discography, like even if Ti doesn't have an album people would put in the same category as Get Rich or Die Trying, there's too many more albums he can pull out. After the Get Rich or Die Trying, I mean, you can't put the whole track list from Get Rich or Die Trying unless you go put it on a shuffle on the verses. He doesn't have enough work really to go against an artist with an extensive catalog. And respectfully, this is kind of why I don't think Jay-Z entertains 50 Cent, because if Jay-Z is a person that doesn't feel like nobody's even worth going against him in the verses. I mean, like, this is what I mean. Like, you're running out of people who's really left to do a verses. All of the great artists with great catalogs that were willing to do it have already done it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think we're gonna get Nas out here. I don't think we're gonna get Jay-Z out here. I don't think Kanye's coming out here. I don't think Lil Wayne is coming out here. You know what I mean? T.I.'s willing to go against one guy, but I don't know who else is willing to go against Busta Rhymes. I don't, you know what I'm saying? These matchups, kind of thin on them at this point. I think producers having verses is probably still wide open because there's a lot of great producers out here who don't get their flowers. But if you go back through and see some of the classic beats of hip hop, see the producers behind it. Some of these producers could get good exposure as well for some of the production they've done and the great work they've done. So I'm for producers doing verses, but as far as the artists themselves, I'm not really trying to see any more matchups that don't have, you know, that don't have any real matchup to it. You know what I mean? You're just throwing artists against each other or just putting music against each other. It's going to be all over the place. So, respectfully, this is an interesting matchup, but at the same time, I don't think the catalogs match up. So T.I. and Lil Wayne would be great. Like I said, Lil Wayne doesn't want to do it. Like I said, I don't think Jay-Z's ever going to do it. I don't think Kanye is ever going to do one. I don't, the artists that are left are probably artists that don't really have the most extensive catalog. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I think 50's just gonna be petty and joke his way out of it. He's not really going to get triggered to respond in a rap. So, you know, hopefully Lil Wayne and T.I. would do it, but I mean, I don't see that happening most likely. You know, but far as as far as musically, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to 50 Cent, and there's no reason to have him, jump in on the verses. And then you have, I don't know if the more contemporary artists would do it. I don't know if Kendrick Lamar would do it. I don't know if J. Cole would do it. I don't know if, artists from that era would do it either. So I mean, you know, it was kind of like a ode to the, the previous era of a versus. So I don't see present artists doing it. So I mean, it's interesting to see, people still bring up the idea, the concept on it online and everything like that. But it's kind of like kind of I think ran its course at this point. Had a good run, had an amazing run. Got us through the pandemic. That was probably the strongest part about it was, we really needed something while we was inside, and that kind of kept us going. But it's like, yeah, it was pretty cool, good run. But I like the music though, and I mean, Ti's got an album coming out. He says it's his final album, but hopefully, he might make another return album and everything like that. But I mean, the lead track, Let Them Know with Pharrell, yeah, people are definitely feeling that one. I'm seeing that getting repeated all over the place too. So that's building up a heavy buzz. I think the rest of the album should be pretty solid. I wonder what the appearance is going to sound like. I think I imagine it's gonna be a few bit of appearances. I'll be surprised if Ti goes out with pretty much no appearances at all and everything like that. But yeah, that's a interesting. I would like to see that last album as it comes out. Not sure of the actual release date. I don't want to say what the release date is because 9 times out of 10, you know, it may not be that just yet. It may be still too far out for one. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I like Ti's, Ti's my guy though, as far as albums and discography. I look at it. In the later years, he kind of, as you could tell, he kind of drifted away from rap, and he wanted to do his own. Wanted to do other ventures and everything like that. You could see, the kind of lack of motivation to jump back in a booth. But he sounds a little more motivated for this one, and a motivated Ti is a pretty good album making Ti. So salute to him. He wants all that smoke with 50. 50 just kind of like just yeah. But you know, interesting dynamic. I mean, honestly, I think they still just friends. I mean, that's kind of like how they get down. You know what I'm saying? Jokes back and forth and everything like that. So, this is all jokes online for them. Um, entertainment for us. But as far as versus goes, I me myself, if I see a new matchup that I like, I'll be thoroughly surprised. So, like I said, great run. Um, looking at other releases that came out. Now, at this point right here, this segment right here is for the lesser known artists. This part is for the underground renaissance of hip hop. These artists are releasing a lot of catalog under the radar, you know, pushing without really any major push until recent years. But throughout the streaming era, you get a lot more exposure to them. And as you listen to their catalogs, like, damn, they're pretty good. And, they got well-known, they get features with other well-known artists as well. So they're not just complete, just amateurs, anything like that. It's just don't have a major deal. You're independent or different type of situations, and you're just making music, just to make, you know, good getting it. You know what I mean? So salute to them. A lot of independent artists are getting out there now, which kind of why in November, as you can see, Rock Nation kind of officially launched its own its distribution platform. 85% royalty payouts paid monthly, distributes to 200 plus platforms, central dashboard for socials, streaming and audience data, no upfront costs, signups, open now. This is for independent artists that need that distribution. You know, Jay-Z and Rock Nation are catering to that lane because so many artists are getting so much done without any type of real distribution, and they see a market for it. I mean, they're also in the business of signing their own artists, but for artists that just need the distribution and resources, they see Rock Nation tapped into that market, which tells you a lot about the like kind of like a renaissance of underground hip hop artists out here. So without further ado, got some upcoming releases coming out, and one of the favorite combinations that people have, Currency and Larry June, are going to be working with Alchemist and releasing an album on February 20th. So I'll be listening out for this month. Alchemist, one of the best producers of the 2010s, one of all-time greats. He's made beats going all the way back to We Gonna Make It. I mean, even before that, you know, he's just extending his run at this point, just making more and more beats. Larry June, remember his album with 2 Chainz from last year, with Alchemist, Grammy nominated for one of the best collabs. I've got the exact award, but yeah, it was Grammy had Grammy nominations. Alchemist was nominated for a lot of things throughout last year. Getting right back to work again. Currency always at work. He just released a project like last month. Larry June, good to see him back at it. He had releases with 2 Chainz. He had his own release last year as well. Yeah, this is something I'm looking forward to here for it. You know what I mean? That combination. Currency, Larry June, Alchemist. Can't miss. You know what I mean? So also released on Tuesday, on I believe February the 3rd, Mickey Diamond and Big Ghost. Detroit rapper from grimy gutter Detroit rap. You know what I mean? And I mean, really skilled though, technically skilled. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and run it back for you, man. I feel like this combination does not miss. Anytime like when Currency was on Larry June's project with Alchemist before, it didn't miss. I don't think they ever miss when you put these elements together. Currency, Larry June, Alchemist with the smooth elevator music or the car ride music. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be real chill, real laid back. Yeah, I mean, this right here is gonna be a smooth one. And it's like, yeah, I definitely, yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. They're gonna be in their lane and they're gonna master their lane. You know what I mean? They're gonna, yeah, stay in that lane and master it. And that's what I look forward to right there. Definitely know what they're gonna deliver on this one. But yeah, Uncle Al, exactly. And then with these two artists together, he knows the chemistry with them. You know what I'm saying? The chemistry is already going to hit. Like he's done individual stuff with them. He's done projects with them collabing together already. So a joint project right here, I don't see this one missing at all. I do not see that one missing. But yeah, back to Mickey Diamond. Um, he's worked with Big Ghost all the way back to 2021. He's had Gucci Ghost editions. Like I said, he's kind of that hardcore Detroit rapper, real deep voice, but the bars is hitting. The bars is hitting. I mean, real deep voice, you know what I'm saying? Like the real husky, you know, talk that grimy Detroit stuff that, the old school gangster rappers like to hear. Big Ghost, one of the hard producers with tough samples and hard, with the grimy sound to go with it. So I mean, they always a good combination if you want to hear some, some stuff, some gutter stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like I can get with Mickey Diamond though, man. I like Mickey Diamond stuff. He's entertaining too, man. He's real witty with it. He's like a big wrestling fan too. A lot of he had an album called Nobody Bleeds Like Flair. Big wrestling fan. He's always got songs named after wrestlers or wrestling finishing moves and everything like that too. Big wrestling community fan. Kind of reminds me of West Side Gun, just with a super deep voice. But he got super bars though. Like Mickey Diamond's bars is like wordplay and everything like that. I mean, he's really like low key different. Like, you know what I mean? So when the Mickey Diamond album come out, is he Griselda? Nah, he's not Griselda. He's worked with. I heard him the first time I heard Mickey Diamond. He was with Pro Dillinger, another underground artist in New York and everything like that. But yeah, he's from he's from Detroit, like Bodie James. His delivery is kind of like just straight hardcore, just deep voice and everything like that. But he can got some serious bars though. I mean, but yeah, he's trying to think what puts him in a mind frame of. He's in his own lane though, kind of though. But he's one of those. He kind of gives you that Griselda feel a little bit. But yeah, his bars is crazy though. But yeah, he's Detroit cat. His features don't usually have any like Griselda guys on there, nothing like that. But he's definitely heavily respected though. I mean, I definitely like Mickey Diamond. Um, Another release though that I heard, Ransom and Bodie James. Bodie James from Detroit. Ransom, one of the Jersey's best lyricists ever, on a collaboration album called Salvation for the Wicked with Nicholas Craven. Um, Another one. This should be a barbarian fest. You know what I mean? Like these are just straight bars on this one. Bodie's a good, painting pictures type of artist as well. He got bars, wordplay is gonna be hitting, Ransom, crazy wordplay, and then Nicholas Craven with the sounds and the samples and everything as well. Big Ghost and Nicholas Craven, they're kind of unique in their own way, but they kind of specialize in the same thing. Or they kind of do both a lot of samples and stuff. Yeah. And I think like Bodie's delivery and Ransom's delivery is going to be interesting to see how they kind of make that work. You know what I mean? Like Ransom, yeah, it comes out of production with Rance. The bars are gonna be there. He's gonna give you the over the head type of rhymes and everything like that. But it's like, his, production, the right mix, this collabo. I like Ransom when he had yeah, it's definitely gonna be slow delivery. Yeah, Bodie gonna talk to you. He's just gonna talk to you. But the bars is like I be impressed with Bodie's rhyming skills. Like how Bodie rhymes is good to me. Like it's crazy. Like he just kind of just falls back on beat. Um, I like Bodie when the beats are fast. Like Bodie gets on up tempo beats and talks on them, and it kind of fits. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like rapping fast on a slow beat versus rapping slow on a fast beat. Like Bodie's actually better on fast beats, and you know what I'm saying. He kind of gets those real slow beats with the slow delivery. He can put you to sleep, but when it comes to the fast delivery, with the slow delivery, with the slow delivery with the fast beats, it works. So it's a weird, it's kind of funny with Bodie, you know what I mean? And then Ransom can give you the fast delivery because he stacks so many syllables on top. You know what I mean? Like Ransom give you so much wordplay, he kind of fits all the syllables in. He starts kind of rapping fast, so it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to approach track by track basis. You know what I mean? It's one thing to be on one track together, but doing an entire project together, that's going to be interesting. You know what I mean? So I'm really kind of I'm looking forward to it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I understand if you're tentative about it being, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, because you know, it can have his misses. I mean, I can see it having his misses, but I feel like, you know, a lot of with these underground albums, and they produce so much volume of it, is that um there's so much work of it that it's almost hard to miss. You know, it's kind of like what I said about the Cole album, is like it's 24 songs. You know, it's gonna be some songs you're gonna skip, but at the same time, he's gonna you got to be completely trash for none of your songs to hit. And it's like Cole's good enough to where enough of those songs can give you a solid album. And it's like, question is, how many songs is going to be? Because some of these projects, you know, some of these underground projects, like, you know, it can be as much as 15 songs, it could be as much as 8. So I don't know how long the collaboration is actually going to be, but sometimes short, you know, short and precise albums work, because if you think about the Fetty album with um Freddie Gibbs and Currency, that the Fetty album with Alchemist, that was a very short album, but it was, you know, those songs all delivered. So I mean, hopefully, you know, if it is short, it can be nice, short, and precise. But yeah, it's a lot of wave of underground albums out. Um, also like to shout out. I didn't see any new releases from him, but yeah, Don Trip. You know, he been on a run for the last 3, 4, 5 years, just making an album almost month after month and everything like that. And he's had Starlito jump back on there with him as well. Underrated duo from Tennessee, one of the best duos in the modern, you know, 2010s. Like I said, underground as well. But like I said, I feel like, you know, Jay-Z and Rock Nation jumping on board with getting a lot of independent artists. The distribution shows that there's obviously a market for them to make an investment like that. So um, big ups to the underground music movement and everything like that. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, a big label coming to use them, you know, working with them is necessarily the best thing, but at the same time, you know, a lot of these artists need the distribution, and and it's going to lead to a lot of artists getting recognition. I mean, what comes with that, that's pretty much one of the best things you can ask for. I mean, a lot of great artists out here that people sleep on and complain about the music they don't like versus the music that is out here that they could possibly like if they gave it a try. You know what I mean? A lot of this distribution can possibly lead to more marketing, more promotion, more push, and you know, artists is getting more sustenance, sustaining. You know what I mean? And you know, like I said, artists like Freddie Gibbs getting nominated for a Grammy a couple years ago tell you right then and there that, you know, we're kind of moving forward at a good pace as far as hip hop. Artists who can sustain on their own without having to conform to different styles that may not work for them, or getting signed and not getting any promotion or getting any type of push, getting put on the shelf, as we used to call it back 20 years ago and everything like that. So seeing artists out here active and making good music all over the place, it's almost hard to keep up with. But at the same time, is, you know, you never run out of music to listen to, at least not for me. So I definitely approve of that. So at this, you know, looking forward to more new releases. Like I said, T.I.'s getting his single out there, getting everybody revved up for his final album. There should be more upcoming albums coming out for more artists. Um, Albums that are already out. Like I said, J. Cole just dropped his. DaBaby just dropped his 2, 3 weeks ago. So North Carolina swinging for the fences right now. So I mean, big up to North Carolina. They pumping out albums right now. Um, I expect a couple more cities to be pumping out more music. I don't expect Memphis to slow down. I don't expect, you know, I don't expect Texas to slow down. I don't expect Cali to slow down. I don't expect any of these other, you know, hip hop cities to slow down making music. Detroit, you know, a lot of good hip hop coming out of there as well. So, yeah, I think this year is probably revving up to be a good turnout like last year was. I'm still catching up on last year's music, so definitely impressive. Um, but yeah, that's my time today. Um, Nothing long, nothing too long. Just a nice in-depth review of J. Cole album, brief review of T.I. and 50 Cent's hypothetical verses, and some upcoming releases for people to get ready for. An underground release for people to check out. Got more reviews like these coming all the time. Um, more discussions. I'll have more conceptual discussions as we go forward as well on these Saturday nights. I'm gonna have these, kind of like what I did on the 8580 podcast, a bunch of top albums, old school album reviews, 20-year reunion, 20-year anniversary album reviews. I got a lot of things, everything locked in right now, giving you different type of content, all type of every Saturday night. So Wednesday you can find me at 8:30, discussing sports. I'll be discussing sports this Wednesday as well, and I'll be right back on Saturday. But I want you all to enjoy your evening, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll be back at you on Wednesday. And as far as hip hop listeners go, I'll be back next week. You enjoy everybody. It's the Left Fresh Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like. You can find me on Instagram at This Is Left Fresh. Share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I got plenty of discussion to go. Like I said, this is the second hip hop episode. I'm swinging for the fences. So, I got a whole bunch of different concepts and everything like that, along with any other coverage or any other thing that's popping up. So, yeah, it's definitely the Left Fresh Podcast. You're definitely in the spot to be. And until next week, see you then.